Hello, 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 everybody. It's been a quick break, but I'm back as per my regular schedule live. I've added to my live the link that about that what we're going to be talking about today, and it's quite it's quite a crazy crazy topic. So the link is there to actually talk about it. So I'm waiting for my guest to come online, and then I'm gonna invite her into my chat. And thank you guys for supporting me. Thank you for always being there for me. Thanks for supporting my live videos. Subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. This topic is actually a major, major topic, a major, major, major topic. It's about deception at its highest. It's a scandal that probably shouldn't have hit the newspapers, but it did. I'm not sure if it would have. It may have caused a big uproar in this person's community. I'm just doing some invites. I'm sure Tamara's probably there. It's however, it's gotten to the level of which, so I'm adding you, Tamara. Bless up, everyone. It's added to a level that of deception that it deters people from believing in faith. How are you, Tamara? How are you?
How are you?
I'm good. Welcome to my live.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's gonna be so exciting tonight to talk about this. I I just I put something on, I seen your comment and I just, I had to comment. I said, listen, we need to talk about this.
Yeah,
This is
exactly.
very serious, right?
It is serious. It is
Yeah,
quite serious. And
yeah.
when when you're a person of faith and we believe because we grew up in faith, and a lot of people don't, right? And you have a person who's called a prophet, a person who's a bishop, a pastor, a deacon, or any value in a church that should be guiding us that does something on this level. It's absolutely atrocious. It
Very
takes
much.
away it takes away from people who are trying to come into the faith, and it helps to elevate those who do not believe in religion, because you're
Right.
saying, look at this.
Well, this is it. And you're not his is not the only story like this. We're
Nope.
finding more and more that the men, and I don't want to just say the men, but we're finding a lot of the male leaders are taking, and we don't want to judge because then they bring up the story of David and Bathsheba, and then it's sort of like they use it as a coverage to say, okay, well, I'm human. But
Hmm.
how many times are you going to make this mistake? Like, apparently this pastor, if you read the entire
I
story, because
did.
I know he got the girl pregnant knowing his wife was already pregnant with
With
twins,
twins.
then told the girl that God told him
She
that
would
she
die.
has
She'd
to
have
have
a
abortion,
have an abortion.
right? So I mean, are these leaders taking advantage? Are they? I mean, it's. I've heard so many stories where the women in the church are being exploited by the leaders and by the men that we're supposed to be that's supposed to be leading us. So
Yeah.
what do we do and what do we say in instances like this? You
You know,
know,
you know what we can always say, because even though the Bible might talk about David and Bathsheba, it talks about the leaders of our church, right? And who what their roles are, and a lot of them are not living by their roles. A lot of them are not living by their roles, and that's the problem that we're having in today's society.
at all. And tonight I came on the live to not to down them, but I see a lot of women now in the church, and you find that the women are leading the church. They're doing what's right in the eyes of God. Because I mean, I've been battling with what church am I going to go to? What church do I belong to? And I'll tell you the truth. It is because of so many instances like these where you're finding, you don't want to hear the leader of your church is in such scandal. I
Exactly.
believe when when you take up a position like that, and it's not only to be in a church, but any kind of leadership position, you
Mm-hmm.
need to watch what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be very cautious of what you're doing. You are not, you did not take up an average role, so you cannot do what the average man does and then says, well, David did it in the Bible, so I'm going to
No,
do it too.
but if David did it, it's not that David lied about it. It's what he did that's totally atrocious. Not only did he do that, he took the lady to court, Tamara, and
Yeah,
stated that she was lying, and he did not sleep with her, didn't have any sexual relations with her, in
no
much
sex
less to impregnate her, and
relation.
requested a DNA test.
Girl, it was so scandalous. I had to come out and talk about it because
It is
but
scandalous.
say hi to everyone's on the line. Catherine, Monique, Stefan, Jerome, Siobhan, Boss Lady K, Debbie. I mean, like, we want to hear also what you guys think. Are you guys finding that this kind of stuff is happening too much in the church? Is it bothering you? Like, are we wrong to be feeling? I mean, I was angry actually reading this article, right?
It
And
is disgraceful.
not for me to judge. Like, I'm trying not to be judgmental because I am not the judge. Everyone has to answer for their own self at the end. But
Hmm.
come on, we're hearing these stories more and more every time that these pastors are leading these churches and exploiting women in the worst way.
Exactly.
And I mean, what can we say? Where can we go now to find proper leaders? We want to, you want to be a part of a church. You want to be, because to me, if the head of the church is going wrong, then to me the whole church is messed up.
It is. It is whole messed up. And then you have people out there who already does not have beliefs in religion, who just looks at this and shakes their head. You understand what I mean? They look at it and they shake their head because
Deterring
it's
people from coming to
confirmation.
the church. Yep. It's deterring people from coming from the church. And like I said, a lot of people are on, especially now in such an uprising time, they want to be a part of a spiritual connection. But when you see things like this coming out in the media, I mean, it pushes you back in because
Exactly.
it's those people that are pointing their fingers and saying, I told you, that's how church people are. That's how and I know, and that I've been part of a church where the church is good and everything. The leaders are leaders, but again, strong female presence, right? So is it that the men can't do it? I don't know. Can they not keep their self under control? Like, I mean, and we have to go outside and say, okay, because we're talking about Pentecostal. Look what's going on in the Catholic Church, right?
Exactly.
With some of these priests and these young boys, like,
Hmm.
what is going on, right?
Some
How
of
do
these
I
some
convince?
of these priests are HIV positive, and they're still
Yeah,
sleeping with innocent young boys. And to the
let's
point,
convince.
like in the thousands, that
Hmm.
this molestation is going on, and it's also come to light that some of the nuns are aware of this situation. Look at how much money the Catholic Church has paid out, and we're not just pointing fingers at anyone here, because look at some of the high profile pastors, even in Jamaica, with these young girls that you should be
And
caring for as a
boys,
daughter, and
and
boys as well,
boys.
that these things are occurring, and a lot of people don't know, and I speak openly about this. I grew up in a Baptist church, and I
Hmm.
was baptized in a Pentecostal church, and it's
Right.
such an old-fashioned church that sometimes you go to church and you have to be on your p's and q's, because if your skirt too short, I'm gonna pull you one side and tell you, and you know what I mean. This is like when you're going to church in Jamaica, if your head not cover, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
These kind of
Yeah.
old-fashioned values, and we don't have that anymore.
No, I find that some of the pastors are, they, I mean, if you're a part of a big church like I've always been, I grew up also in the church, and you see women worshiping these men. Um, and it's more like they're coming to church to worship the pastor or the head of the church as opposed to praising God. And I think that we need to speak up on that because the women, and I don't want to say black women. I want to just say, we find that there's more women in the church, right?
Hmm.
Than
Hmm.
so the women now they're going to church. I mean, I used to observe this from a little girl. Um, Everybody goes sit up in the front of in the pastor, and it's when they go home now instead of cooking their husband's meals and making their husband feel good, they talking about the pastor. The
Mm-hmm.
pastor, the pastor, the pastor. Right?
The
So
pasta.
the pastor, pastor do this. The prophet
Mm-hmm.
say this. So now what's going on in your marriage? And now the pastor is also dipping in more than the collection plate.
Right.
Right? So
Because there's
like
already so much going on with them, just lavishly living off our
yeah,
meager salaries. And then,
yes.
the ones that preach about you stealing from the church if you don't give your tithe or pay offering, these are the things that we need to look at. Look at all these lavish lifestyles of these pastors in the US. And, a lot
Hmm.
of their parishioners, they brought one to light in Detroit where the parishioners are around him. It's,
Oh,
it's
one
deplorable.
they called all kind of Louis Vuitton purses. He had like all kind of Louis Vuitton stuff. Like they're taking our money and doing all kinds of stuff. But
Jets.
I'm saying we have to be accountable for what we're also doing, and the women need to stop throwing themselves at the pastor. The pastor, you need to stop taking the women in the church, and the women in the church, the pastor is off limits. The pastor belongs to the first lady of the church, and that's where he needs to stay.
Hmm. So
Is
Robert is
fashion.
saying, sorry, Robert is saying church is fashion, not back in the days. So I remember back in the days, yeah, and they often make memes out of this on Facebook or social media where they show what it was like going to church then and what it's like dressing for church now. You know,
Have
um,
you seen these girls come to church?
see who?
It's
So,
abs it's absolutely ridiculous.
hmm.
Absolutely ridiculous. And I mean, if that's how the women are presenting themselves at church, I mean, the men are only flesh.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? They're only flesh in their defense. So I'm saying also, women, take responsibility for what you're also doing in the
exactly.
church, because seems like the men are very, very weak. So please do not go to church with your breasts outside and your legs outside. Dress
It's
appropriately
like
to
a
church.
dance hall. And church is not like it's like dance hall. People should you should know your garb.
Oh, you
Know
should
your
see.
garment different from the one that you wear
But
in
my mother
outer
used to
world
say,
does not belong in church.
every day is special and Sunday best, because we had church clothes, we had clothes for school, we had clothes for, if even if we're going to the mall, but you have a different way that you dress for church,
Exactly.
right? And a lot of these pastors, instead of leading with their heart and what they've learned to lead, they're leading with something else,
Something else.
right? And it's so sad to see, because I see this all the time. So Robert says, like what, Robert? What do you want us to say? Like,
Maybe he's asking about the clothes. Like, you don't wear the look a short up skirt with catch up under your bum and your breast hanging
yeah,
out the door to go to church.
it's
Even
not
though the Bible
appropriate.
says come as you are, it don't mean come clothesless. You understand?
Naked
You know?
doesn't become naked.
No.
You know what I mean? I think that, and a lot of these pastors need to enforce a dress code. Like, you know, even the women of the church, you know that you're married to this, the women of the church also have to do their part. Dress appropriately. You're not going to church to entice the pastor and the men up there. I'm not saying that love cannot happen in the church. If that's, so be it, but let it be on a level where it's a natural thing, and
Mm-hmm.
that you're not bringing this kind of, what would they call it, Jezebel spirit in the church,
Mm-hmm.
where the man is fully getting, what's the word, you're
Aroused.
tantalizing him. Yes, because
Aroused by your, yeah.
it's aroused, because you're in church, your breasts are outside. I see it in so many churches, and
Mm-hmm.
it to me as a woman, it's embarrassing. I think it looks bad on you to come to church in that manner. And I mean, you have to know better. Even if you put a t-shirt on, I think it's better than to come in what some of these women are coming to church in,
But remember the
right?
days back home I remember those days back in Jamaica where if you're not dressed properly, they come with a white sheet and wrap you up and tie up your head. You understand what I mean?
That's what they need to do,
Yeah.
because the pastors are going too far. you know I mean, there was another story of another pastor here in Toronto, and he was actually, I don't know if you're familiar with Spiritual Baptist Church, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think in Jamaica you guys call it Poco Church,
Oh,
right?
okay. Okay.
So there is a ritual where they call mourning, where you go and you fast and you pray for, I don't know how many amount of days.
Hmm.
And they found that the man was actually sleeping with the women while they were fasting during these you
So
know
what is he telling them at this point? Oh, the Lord told me to do this, because a lot of them live
the
under
Lord
this
told
cloud.
me,
The
the
Lord
Lord
told me, like the
said,
Lord told this one after he impregnated his parishioner to go and have an abortion. That's deceitful. That's deception at the highest level. And we talk about sin. We talk about so much. It's not about being judgmental at this point. It is something that he opened himself to when he took this lady to church, to court.
Mhm.
Sorry, telling telling them that this is not his
Humiliated
child.
her.
You've never slept with her.
But you
That
see, God doesn't sleep, Kimberly, because he tried to get a publication ban so that it wouldn't come out. And the
exactly.
judge said, no. The judge
No,
said, I'm going to expose you. And God doesn't sleep.
no.
So, and to me, because I'm like, and I'm not saying this, but because he's a man of God, I'm even more sorry for his soul, because
Yeah.
he knows better. He leads the people. You preach the word. So,
He's called a prophet, for God's sakes. A
right?
prophet, the highest level,
The highest
highest
level.
form,
So I don't know what to say. I mean, because they say, it's okay to sin, but when you know that you're sinning,
and
right?
deliberately sin.
Deliberately sinning, right? It's not to say like you don't know you're married, and you know your wife is pregnant with twins.
Pregnant with twins. And then you go
So
impregnate somebody else.
Martin says, Martini Howard says, Sunday best, therefore no breasts, legs, and thighs.
Yeah,
That's
that's what
a
we're talking
distraction.
about.
It's about honoring the heaven. Let me see
Heavenly
what she said.
Father, not the
The Heavenly
flesh.
Father. Yes, I mean, God only asks us for this one day where we can serve and praise Him. Put yourself together, cover yourself. I know strippers that go to church on Sunday. You would never know they strip,
No, because they
but
respect. They
because
respect.
they have
You understand?
respect.
And a lot of us lack respect for ourselves sometimes and our religion. Because on the other hand, I'm gonna be the devil's advocate here. Um, this lady knowingly goes to this
Yeah,
church, knowing that this man is married, knowing that his wife is in church, put herself also in that position to end up in this
in that
predicament as
position.
well. She made a
But
decision.
the women are to also blame, and that's what I'm saying. Women, if you're going to church, the church is not the place to pick up the pastor. And I'm not saying you can't meet anybody at church, because we don't want
Maybe
anybody to
some
pick up
single
anybody,
pastors though. Them have some single
right?
pastors, but the pastor single
But
it different.
if the pastor is single, that's a whole different ball game. But you come to a church, you meet the pastor and his wife, his pregnant wife at
Who
that.
helps him with the church, who helps him with his ministry, because
Yes.
I know of this pastor that I was shocked when I saw the article, because they hold conventions or whatever they call it all over
He,
Canada.
he
They've been
runs
here.
17 churches. I think I've been to his church. I think he has a church on Weston Road,
I think
right?
one in Mississauga
So,
too. Hmm.
yes, he has multiple churches. So it's not that he's just running one church. He runs several churches internationally. So this
And
man
not
is
only that,
is a
intelligence I'm concerned about him financial. What was it? I guess the pledges from the members
well, yes,
as
because now
well.
all of that money is going to stop, right? So
Exactly.
he has to secure that, and if that means to drag this woman through the mud, like we said, it's her fault as well. But to
Mhm.
drag her through the courts, to disgrace her like that,
Disgrace
to
himself.
right. But I mean, to put the woman through this, and just think about his wife, how she's feeling at this moment.
To think
How
him even take a oath from the Bible says a man of God. You should have burned right then and there. You
fire
know what I
burn,
mean? You
right?
should have burned.
Fire burn,
Yeah.
right? I'm just so disappointed in some of these, because like I said, right now we're at a time where Black people need to unite, and we need the leaders, we need our pastors, we need those people to give us positive words and positive reinforcement. So if this is what we have to look up to, I don't know
That
what to
we have
say.
nothing at all. We have nothing at all. If we have, welcome, Fox. If we have persons like this representing us for religious purposes, then we have nothing. We have nowhere to turn at the end of the day, because the negative repercussion that's coming from this, every negativity will come from it, from the people who are not of faith, people out there who have no belief. How do we, and it's so easy now to take those people who are on the borderline, thinking, should I believe in this, should I believe in that, or should I go to church, or should I not go to church? It's pulling those people back. You understand?
Of course. Because I hear people all the time. Like right now, we're trying to win souls for Christ. We're trying to tell people how sweet the name of Jesus
Jesus
sounds.
is.
But then you have people like the pastor. When you're now talking Jesus and you're trying to bring people to church, they're going to be like, well, I heard that in your
That
church,
this
you know.
happens.
So at the leaders really, really need to take a stock of what they're doing. And like I said, I see a lot of women doing good things in the community. It's coming like the women have to take up the leadership roles in the churches as well, which is sad because we want them our men to lead, you
Hmm.
know. But if this is the kind of scandal, because I'm telling you, there's so many scandals like this. I wasn't even like, it was like, oh, another one. That's
Yeah,
when I was reading it, it was like, oh, another one.
another one.
But it's just that this particular pastor is huge. Like he's a big pastor,
It's huge
right?
in Canada.
So
It's like those pastors that we recognize in the U.S. on TV. You
that's
know
what I'm
what I
saying.
mean?
It's almost like a TD Jakes, right? And I
Yeah,
mean, to bring yourself to that position, it means that you must have put in a lot of work and a lot of time, and people respected you. And to fall from grace like that
like
is
that.
just so sad and so disappointing, you
It is
know.
disappointed, and it's disappointing on such a level. And I'm going to elaborate on that. I'm not cutting you 1 minute. It's the fact that he took his deception, which he could have dealt with his congregation and with his
Mhm.
family, and may not have had such a huge disgrace outside of the church.
Right.
He
That's what
took
I'm
it to
saying.
a level where it's known nationally, internationally, everywhere, because
Because
it's now in
his
the media.
ego his ego took
Exactly.
over, right? He thought that, he could actually. I just want to say a quick hi to everybody who just came up: Patrick, Tammy, Romeo, Colette. Hi everyone, thanks for joining us. um like, what was I saying? It's just, how big does your ego have to be?
Mhm.
You did something wrong. Okay, you're not supposed to be messing with the women in the church. Now you took the woman to court. What
Mhm.
did you think was going to happen? But what I'm finding with these pastors, it's like they almost have this feeling like they're bigger than God,
Exactly.
right? And I feel so scared for them when the day of reckoning comes, because the Bible talks about a day of reckoning and the day of judgment.
Exactly.
What are you going to do when the day of judgment comes? I can't answer for you.
And you can't blame that church sister, because we're all accountable on that
Right?
day. We are all
Right?
accountable. It's not pastor fault or this fault. And pastor, this is solely your fault, because you should be leading your congregation. You
Lead in
should
your
be
congregation.
providing therapy to those people who needs therapy.
That's
You are the one who's the family counselor. You're the one who's the healer. You're the one. You have so much power, and yet this is abuse of power. Clearly abuse of power.
abuse of power. And that's what I'm finding. A lot of these leaders are abusing their power. And, at a time where we need them, it's like, what are we going to do? So I'm now, I'm asking my aunties who I know are prayer warriors. I'm like, maybe the women have to lead the church, because the men, like I said, they're doing something that's so, so wrong. Like,
Exactly.
if they really took a stock of what they were doing, they wouldn't do it.
They would
You know,
not. So
they wouldn't do it.
Anthony saying pastors come good, bad, and ugly. And as you touch the subject as on women leaders of the church, a lot of people or a lot of persons out there does not respect a woman as a pastor. And you know what? Some of the pastors now, some of the strongest pastors out there, hi Tatiana, are actually the women pastors.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The stronger churches now, you find, are being led or head by women. And I'm not going to say, because I'm pretty much of a feminist, I love that women are taking the lead in the power,
Mhm.
but I also want to see the men the way God made it. The men were supposed to head the church and head the home and, be the head of all these things, and they're not taking
Not
up
anymore.
their responsibility.
Not
So
anymore.
it's us now to pick up the church too. So we're now heading the homes, we're heading the jobs, now we're heading the churches,
Exactly.
right? So what exactly is happening?
We're also ahead in the corporate world, which was
Yes,
male dominated.
that's what I'm saying. What is going on, men? What is going on? Like, even tonight we're not getting a lot of men talking. But
No.
why are the men becoming so weak?
Mm-hmm.
Especially, you would think that the strongest men are in the church.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I grew up. My mom used to say, if you go to church and find your husband. But if this is what I'm going to church to find, you know what I mean? So we really need to speak up on this subject,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing for me as a Black woman to see a Black man fall like that.
A
Um,
young Black man that has so
young
much
Black,
power.
that's what I'm saying. It's embarrassing. Even though, they say as Black people, we're like crabs in a barrel, some of us are not.
No, we're
I
not.
want to see my brother's success. I want to see my sister's success. I want to see them go up. But I don't want to see you do all that work just to crush and burn, brother.
And these are some of the things that stagnates people, that makes them stagnant, because when people see this, you understand, they point fingers, they do all kind of things, and it makes those people out in the world think it's okay to do the same thing. No, it's not
Exactly.
okay.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. If the leaders are doing it, then of course everyone in the church is going to think that's okay.
Hmm.
Right? So what are you leading your church to do? Just commit sin, commit adultery, be manipulative. So they really need to check themselves and understand the position that they're in, and how many people look up to them and are looking for them to be role models and
Hmm.
mentors.
Yeah, it's
So
sorry. So I'm gonna touch base with what Leonard is saying here. Congregation don't always have to be the sheeps. Know your path and recognize the devil a mile away. Sometimes you can't tell a devil because they come with wolves in a sheep clothing, right? Come in a different forms.
wow. But I'm saying yes, but there is so many of them devil in the church. That's so.
You have devil everywhere. You understand? So, look at these priests. Look at these priests. So think they say the Catholic diocese is the higher form of any religion. I beg to differ. I'm sorry.
But look what's going on there. They're finding aborted babies that the nun and the
The
I don't want to
priest
talk.
have
The
relations.
priest and
It's we know that that happens, but you, who does not? How can a religion, which the Bible tells you be fruitful and multiply, man and woman was put on earth to, to actually, what we call it, to bear
procreate.
children, right? How
Right.
can you tell a priest or a human being not to have sexual relations? You understand what I mean? You
That's
cannot do
what I'm
that
saying.
because they still
So
have those hormones in them. We're
of
all
course they're
built
gonna
with
have
these.
urges.
Exactly.
And I'm saying I'm one for the pastors or the priests. I believe that they should have their wives,
Exactly.
honestly. But they're one wife.
One wife.
One wife,
Me
okay, that
believe
you
that the
take up.
one wife thing too, Me believe in that.
One wife. Okay? In this day and age, come on, Kimberly. These men and them, they cannot even afford the one wife that they have. Back
No.
in the day, if they, you know what? Because somebody asked me the other day, we were talking about and this is just an aside, the subject of
Hmm.
polygamy.
Hmm.
Polygamy was meant for rich men. You
Hmm.
understand? Men that could take care of 10 wives.
10
In
wives.
this age, you can't do it. So
No.
men, you guys need to just get that out of your head. Take up one wife. You know that she's going to be a leader with you, and build that way and do what's right in the eyes of God.
Hmm.
You cannot be going outside preaching the Bible and doing, the total opposite of what the Bible says. How
And
does that look?
how do you expect people to listen to you? How do you expect people to follow you? You know, Leonard is saying, remember the sin of the flesh is one of the most recurring or recurrent. Understood.
Oh
But,
my God, all the time though?
but,
All the time?
no, it's not all the time. They are put in a position. Pastors, bishops, whoever you are, priests, you are put in the position to for the sheep, the flock to follow you. You are the
Yeah,
ones, you're the stairway, you're the gateway to heaven. You know what I
that's
mean? Where is the gateway now? You understand? We now have to look into ourselves and, form that mindset of our own and know where we want to go in order to
I
get there
feel
because the
that
leaders are not doing it.
exactly. I feel that the leaders need to fight more than everybody else because you are a leader. So when those temptations come to you, of course you're going to be tempted. You're a man, you're flesh. We're not saying that this is not going to
But you
happen,
have a
but
wife.
exactly. You have to be strong enough. That's why I was fortunate enough to just have some, when they're taking ministerial programs and things like that, they teach them how to be a leader and how to resist temptation. So they need to work harder than the average person because they are in a position of leadership, right? So I'm getting tired of hearing, well, it just happened, or they are supposed to be one up on us. Leave that for me and you.
And people, let me
Right?
tell you this, there is no church, there's
We
no
need on
one,
both
there's
sides.
no
Yes,
life, there's
Leonard.
nobody without scandal. But this scandal is on another level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's on another level. And for those who are just tuning in, we're talking about the Martin Kofi story that's been featured in the Toronto Star. If you notice,
Star.
the star, the star, it's not the sun, what them can't say the sun tell lie. It's a
The
star.
star.
Or the
Whenever
sun
there's a
racing.
star, that means it's the truth.
It's the truth. It's
If
something
you're
that was heard in the
situated,
Ontario courts of law, where this
yes.
gentleman actually took this parishioner to say that I did not have any relationship with this person, but it came out that the child was 99.99967.
Nine,
I think it's something like
you
that.
are
You
the
are the
father.
father. So it's a Mari Povich, what do you call it? Jerry
I
Springer
don't
kind
necessarily,
of story in the church.
it's not good,
And
sister.
is the one who took her to church,
Good.
who took her to court.
It's not good. But that's what I'm saying. The audacity of this man to bring this woman and that whole entire story up, and to have his whole empire that he's worked so hard. Because no pastor, he's accomplished a lot.
And you know what?
If you
The
look at,
funniest thing is, I saw him on live preaching like there's nothing wrong. But
and
I
he can
can't expect
preach.
him
You listen to the man preach. He
yes.
has, he's anointed. So I'm saying to myself, you know the power that you have. And I'm not saying you're not going to be tempted, but oh my God. you know, Sorry for calling God's name, but could you not have done it in a more, I mean, sin is sin, so we can't cover sin.
Hmm.
But it's just, to have this story come out like that.
So Leonard
It's
is saying we can't expect a pastor to be strong more so. We can't expect, and I'm
that
just making sure, we can't expect a pastor to be strong more so than a church member. A chain is only going to be as strong as the weakest link. No, 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 no. The pastor is supposed to be the
the
strongest link in
pastor
the
is
church.
the link. Okay, Leonard.
He's supposed to
Anytime
be
you
the
see a man,
anchor. The anchor when the ship is sinking, he's supposed to be that anchor that
he's the
everybody
captain.
runs to and holds on
Yes,
to.
yes, that is totally incorrect. If you take up the position to lead, okay, a church especially, even the leader of the free world, like, okay, look at Obama when he was in office. He was the only one that scandal never touched, right? Because I'm sure he was tempted. I'm sure women threw their
Oh,
self at Obama.
stand out touch
I
him,
would throw
Because them
myself.
talk about the little weed when him smoke and the little coke when him take, him never hide it. He come out and say yes, so I applaud him for that.
But the scandal was not as open because
No.
he knew he was in a position of leadership.
Mm-hmm.
He knew he didn't want to disgrace his wife, his children, his family, his home.
Not only that,
Okay,
the man have values. Values is what he has. You know what I mean? And he has the great leadership ability that lots of us lack, because regardless of everything that's said and done, at the end of the day, them say I'm the weakest prime minister, president ever. No, I find him
it's
to
the
be the strongest.
he 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 held his position with grace and honor, and this is what I want to see the pastors and the leaders doing in the church. Carry yourself with a presence that we can follow, that a man who's cheating on his wife will say, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. Look at my pastor, look at the words that he's saying to me, look at how his family is. Be an example. How can we teach and lead the flock astray?
And
we
that's what we
need
said,
we all
Leonard.
need to be
Sorry,
accountable.
we Phoenix.
Leonard,
Yes, but we did say that we are all accountable. I think you probably missed that part of it.
we're
We
not
are
just
all
blaming the
accountable.
pastor. We're blaming her too, Leonard. We're saying she was wrong to go into the church, and who knows what she did, raise up her dress. I don't know. But both of them is wrong. But in the pastor's position, I'm not being judgmental, but I am. The pastor is the
The
one to
pastor
blame
is the
the
one who
worst.
would take, because he is a leader. No
He's
matter
the
how she
leader.
bend over, no matter how she sit down at the front of the church and open her legs, no matter what the temptation
That's
is,
right.
he's the one now to pull her aside with him wife, because he has a wife in the church, and say,
That's right.
hello, I am
He
appalled
wasn't
at
supposed to
your
go there.
behavior.
He's not supposed to go there. And this is what I'm saying. Men in big positions, don't be tempted. Hold yourself, because that one little mistake can ruin your entire life. It
This is
can
like
ruin
the Bill
everything
Clinton
you work
story.
for,
This is like the
right?
Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky story. I
Yes.
never had sexual relations with that lady, but
Relations
you
with
know
that
what I mean?
woman.
It's on a different, this is on a different level. You
A different
understand?
level.
And deception happens as we speak. I'm going off topic a little bit. We're talking about, look at today's news headlines again. We're talking about the now president of the United States as well, who's also employed in scandal, a lot of scandalous activity. So
Well, we
they've already
yes,
found one person who was in his administration guilty of 8 counts of fraud. That's the accountant. Now you
oh,
have
good.
his lawyer who's made a plea deal today. Mr. Cohen has now made a plea deal. So
Oh,
how
Lord.
long this man should have been impeached. So people like these on the top of the ladder, who are so-called leaders, when they are in this position, we also have a voice. You understand? We, the parishioners, have a voice. They need to cut loose. You understand? But we don't
Yes,
do
I
that.
agree. I agree. I agree that the leaders are slacking. They're slacking big time. And, we need, if both agree, it takes two to tango. Yes, Rick,
Yes,
but
Rick.
this is not an
That's what we
average
said.
tango person. This is the leader of a church. This is a pastor. This is a man of God. This is a person who leads people, who mentors people, who people look at as an example. This is not the average person. If I was talking about an average person, maybe I might even let it slide.
Exactly.
But we are talking about a man who leads 17 churches internationally.
Who
Okay. Um,
teaches the Bible, who
he
teaches
teaches
his
the
parishioners.
Bible, right? And I know clearly in the Bible it says, "Thou shalt not commit adultery." And
How much
I'm
sermon and preach on that? We can do a
right.
research.
That's I'm sure he himself has preached so many sermons like that,
I think one
right?
of his conventions was about family building and stuff like that as well. I'm almost positive it was something along that line
Yes.
about the family.
So we have Princess that just joined us, Brian Oliver. Thank you for joining us tonight. We're talking about the
Hmm.
scandal of Pastor Kofi and him leading the church and just scandalizing himself with this woman and just really ruining everything that he's worked so hard for. I met Kimberly online and I'm like, Kimberly girl, we got to say
We gotta
something.
talk.
My auntie was like up and down the house, like in tongues this morning when I told her about this story. Because again, it's not the first time. It's not the first story we're hearing like this. And I'm saying, why are we hearing these stories more and more of these leaders, totally stepping outside of what they're preaching and doing something different.
And the
Um,
saddest thing is that it happens every day. It just
every
takes a story like this, where this pastor took it this far, instead of apologizing to his wife, apologizing to his congregation, and saying, I'm sorry, but he went as far as to taking this lady to court, asking for a DNA test, stating
and
that,
he knew the child was his, right? I mean, he knew that he had relations with the lady. Now, as a pastor, I'm just saying, what I would have did, I would have not brought it out like that. You did your dirt. At least try to cover the scandal for your wife's sake, for your family's sake, for
a wife pregnant
even
with
the people,
twins.
right? Even the people in the church. Now you have to think of this man's congregation, how they're feeling at this moment. You know,
Your
it's
prophet.
traumatizing, of course, that you followed this man. Okay, so Michael Pinchy says, Pinchy Clark
Interesting.
says, great topic. And Leonard said, remember, when God is at work, so is the devil. I understand, Leonard, but he more than anybody knows that.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's what
this
he's
morning the devil
preaching
said,
against every day. But yet him turn around and he becomes
this
that.
morning the devil said to me, go and spend your money on a pair of shoes.
Mhm.
But I had to have the discernment to say, I know that's the devil talking. I don't, the
You
money that
don't
I
need
have is
those
not
shoes.
shoes. Right. So you can't always say, oh my God, the devil made me do it. There's a time when you have to say no to the devil, especially if you're walking with the Lord. You understand?
Exactly.
So you can't always use that excuse, oh well, the devil is busy. How many times are you gonna make the devil busy in your life? And
Millions.
you know better than all of us. Basically,
Hmm.
you're a pastor,
Yeah.
right? So how many times are we going to take this thing from you? So Unique says hello. She says true, right? And yes, I believe that the devil is busy, but for a man who puts himself in a pastor leadership position, he knows better and he should be doing
He's
better.
not
And
even
that's
called
just
a
the bottom
pastor at
line.
this time. He's called a prophet. Remember, a prophet, the
Prophet,
strongest
not
form
even
of
he's
leadership.
done, right? He's a prophet, which is, he's earned all his stripes and bells and whistles, right?
Exactly. And
So
I
when
believe he's anointed. I believe he's
oh
anointed.
yes,
But,
because I heard him preach.
exactly.
I
And
heard him
I
preach.
follow him. I have him on my Facebook page. I'm not surprised if he's not even watching right now. I follow him. It was just only a couple months ago he was here in Calgary, and he still has other tours planned right now that he's working on to return
Mhm.
again.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. It's he knows better than all of us. Like even me and you talking here today, all within our strength and character.
Leonard,
Um,
it's a different thing. I know, I understand where you're coming from. I understand that what you're saying. I will beg to differ. If your church that you're going to, the pastor does something like this, how you would look at it. You understand? We're not casting judgment. We're just talking about the
we're
occurrence
just saying how
and
it
the
looks.
deception behind it. It's a deception. It's not the fact that it happened. It's something that happens every day. Sad to say. You understand? They are accountable to the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for them action. You understand? Regardless
Mhm.
of whatever devil put them with a stick or the fire pole or whatever
Leonard,
it is, them
Leonard said a man is
them
still a
supposed,
man,
a man is still a man. We understand a man is still a man.
but
But
this is no ordinary man.
Leonard, it's not the fact that he did what he did. It's the deception behind it to cover it up till he took this woman to court. The man is still a man. The sin is committed, yes, but it's the cover up part of it and the deception behind the cover up, and it's deplorable. It is disgusting what he did. I know the woman took him to court, him take the woman to court.
He took the
This man
woman to court.
took the woman to court and say he want paternity test. He's never slept with this woman. You understand? It's better he'd apologize to his wife,
Yeah,
apologize to his congregation, make them sweep it under the rug like a lot of other
under the rug.
churches do, rather than bring himself to this level of people looking and pointing finger at it. You understand? We're not saying
And
God is surprised. Leonard, come on. I know you're there grinning off your face right
Leonard,
now. Leonard is just
Leonard,
pushing fire with fire and wanted right
I
now because
know God.
he's,
Listen, we understand. God probably knew that he was going to do this even
yeah.
before he did it. But I'm just saying,
And
We
you want to
have
bet
choice.
she's not the only
God
woman
gave
in the
us
church?
choice.
She's not the only woman in the church him there with, you know. That pastor,
That's what
that's
I'm
not the
saying.
only woman. Me sorry, me have to say it. Me only, but me have to say it.
I'm
Me
telling you,
not hide. He is not, she's not the only
she's not the
woman
only one.
that
That's
she,
what I believe too.
you
That's what I
understand? And
believe
I wonder
too.
how much what him tell these weak and followers behind him. What is he telling
I,
his weak flock behind him? The Lord said, you understand? You have this in you. Some have to go sexually remove it, like these pastors in Africa and other places that are having these sex churches and all kind of looking nasty
or
things. Come on,
did you
people,
hear
wake
about the
up.
one in, did you hear about the Nigerian pastor who sucks the women's breast? He said
Yes,
God told him to
but
suck the
that's not
women
the
their
only
breast.
thing. That's not the only thing. Go back. They actually have videos. This is nasty. This is deplorable. This is disgusting. You know, how can you put yourself in such a way? You
And it's an
understand?
exploitation. It's an exploitation of women as well.
Thank
I
you,
think these
Leonard.
men are
Hi, Esther.
taking advantage
Yeah,
of
Leonard is saying ignorance on his part. God reveals all. Yes, and that's what we're saying because he wanted a publication ban so that he does not lose financially and it does not affect his congregation and it don't reach out to the public. But the judge said no. I mean, I
the
said no
judge.
too because it took the woman that far. She should have sued him for damages. You
And
understand?
which she probably will. Because this
The
is
judge should have
horrible.
put on a different amount of child support just for that.
He
We just
probably
feel
will.
so. I'm sorry. This is
Right?
vindictiveness
It's,
talking, but
it's
yes.
terrible. It
Yeah,
is bad. And like I said, we could talk about it, but the solution is really we need to we need to find more credible leaders.
yeah,
I don't believe that all leaders are like this. I don't believe that the flesh is that weak all the time. I mean, there's women pastors, there's women leaders. The women seem to have a little bit more self-control, and that's what we're saying. You have to have self-control when you're in that kind of position. You can't just let yourself go and say, well, I'm the average
exactly.
man. You're not the average man when you pick up those positions,
No,
right? So you cannot do what the normal person can get away with.
no,
In
you
the eyes
can't.
of God, to me, in the eyes of God, he did God a very great injustice.
Hmm.
And it's like, it's not to say a regular man who's not walking with God. Okay, God will understand. But for me, I'm like, how is he gonna I mean, of course he's gonna get forgiveness from God because our
Yeah,
God is a
but
forgiving God.
he's a forgiving God.
But like you said, this is probably not his first time,
No,
right? So how many times are you going to ask God every time you do the same sin and you just keep saying, forgive me, God, forgive me, God, forgive me, God, right? Is that,
mhm.
are you now taking God as a mockery, or what are you really doing?
I think that's what's going on. I think people are taking the church as mockery nowadays, right? And not only that, we have to address the females in the church as well because some will leave ourselves open to this. You
Mhm.
understand? Yes, man a man. And some of us, Tamara, you're not ugly. So if sure say if you go to one church and you look a certain way, yes, the pastor is a man. He's human being, he's gonna look. You understand? But you know and say a pastor, you know and say him have a wife, and I like him single. You know and
That's
say him
what
have a
I'm
wife.
saying.
You know,
You as the woman,
it's not the world.
that's right. You as the woman have to have some kind of decorum for yourself as well. You're gonna go put
Exactly.
yourself with the pastor, and the man. Like I said, it's not a single man we're talking about. We're talking about a man who's a prophet of a church. You know the wife. You've probably spoken to the wife
Had
many
already
times,
had four children. Four
right?
children, so sex is not a problem at home. And pregnant with
That's
twins. The wife is pregnant with twins. So let me bring out the little garbage out there. Wife is pregnant with twins. So I'm like you're locking at home. You
that's right.
understand? Everybody
That's
have
right.
a fetish, but a
She's not
pastor
denying
should
him.
not be going that role. Not only
That's
that,
right.
him not protect him wife, him not protect himself because he's laying careless without protection with this woman, and I never one occurrence for this to
That's right.
happen.
Exactly. Even if you're gonna do your dirt. Do your dirt and protect yourself so this stuff doesn't happen. So you're just
Exactly.
going way out because your ego is now so big and you're bigger than God now, right? Because it could
Exactly.
only be feeling that he's bigger than God, so
Mm-hmm.
that he went forth with this kind of foolishness, right?
Exactly.
Because any other man, or in even the average man would have tried to sweep that under the rug to keep his wife from getting hurt, to keep the congregation from having to go through all of this
But
embarrassment.
him know say a film pitney from the beginning, because the minute him go tell the woman say God says she fi have abortion because whatever, whatever. Come on. Him use God to a level that we never know. And it's not for a good reason. He's using
So
it for self-gratification.
Rick says nature rules as much as we clever modern humans want to think. We are in total control. The power of, can you see that, Kimberly?
No,
The
that's probably someone on your end.
Okay, we as much as we clever modern humans want to think we are in control, the power of, let's see, I'm trying to see if I can read it here. The power of something. So there is the reality, no matter what your social position or status is. Okay, so he's saying there's still going to be sexual desire,
Yeah, there is
right?
sexual desire. We're not saying that there is none. We're saying yes, is obviously he's having a lot of sex. He has 4 children and the wife is pregnant with twins.
But you know what I don't understand about these men? These men are actually like saying it's okay. He's a man. So Leonard says every man loves to put notches on his belt. Leonard, this is not the average man.
That's
He's
not the
not supposed
average
to be
man.
putting notches nowhere. Okay, he's not
Leonard,
supposed
it's
to be
not
putting
like the
notches
deacon in
nowhere.
your church where you can't say yes, a deacon. Another regular
The man is
pastor
a
in your church
prophet.
is ordained a prophet. A prophet
The man,
is a higher
look this
level.
here. Look, I even have the Bible here with me in case anybody wants me to quote from the Bible.
Mine, look it
This
up.
book here, this book here, this is what he goes around, and he's supposed to know this book inside out. You understand?
And
If
he
you're reading,
does. Listen to him
of
preach.
course, he knows it inside out, right? So how could you? It's like they say, when you know better, you do better. He knows better. So why? Why? And there's no excuse. Like, I understand you men are saying, this is great, and oh, whatever, he has sexual desires, but
We're not saying not have sexual desire. We all have sexual desire.
Mhm. What if his wife had went out and slept with all the men in the congregation? How that would have looked? You know
That
what I
would be
mean?
something different. Would
Right?
be a different
So,
thing.
and all we're saying tonight is, all we're saying is, if you're going to pick up these leadership positions, right, you need to be accountable for your actions more than the average person. Okay? Otherwise, don't take the job.
No,
Right?
don't take the job.
Don't take the job if you know you can't do it.
Okay, and
Because
I'm gonna read the meaning of prophet. It's a noun. And as per
yes,
Google, it says a person regarded as an inspired teacher or proclaimer of the will of God. That's what it says. He's a seer, a soothsayer, a fortune teller, clairvoyant, a diviner, and there's even more. You understand? So
so he's anointed.
he's
He's anointed.
well
He knows
anointed.
better. Remember, 40 days and 40 nights. Only a very few can pass that test.
Okay, so in Wikipedia now it goes even further. It says, in religion, a prophet is an individual regarded as being in contact with a divine being and said to speak on that entity's behalf. So he's speaking on behalf of God. Come on now, ha!
But the Holy
Open your
Spirit,
eyes.
the
Serving
Holy Spirit
as an
speaks to him.
intermediary with humanity by delivering messages or teachings, as we're saying, from the supernatural source to other people. Come on, people, wake up. You understand? Wake up. Mistake do happen. That was not
The
a
Holy
mistake.
Spirit, the Holy Spirit did not tell him to go up under
And
that
seek
woman's
and
skirt.
find that
Okay?
woman.
So please, and this is what I'm saying. We're finding more and more of these men of God, because like you said, we've heard this man preach. He's a very good preacher. He knows the Bible like the back of his hand. So when people like this fall from grace, they're gonna get judgment, and they're gonna be judged
Who
hard
is
and
Satan?
hard.
Satan was one of the highest angels. If anybody
Hmm.
here read the Bible and know about the Bible, that's what he did. He fell from grace, and this is why he's in the position where he is. You understand?
Hmm.
Satan was one of the highest angels ever. You understand? More power than you think. And this is why he still has the power that he has. However, not for the good of God. But you understand? This is what he did. He was not ordained by
But he
man.
was ordained
He
by
was
man.
not ordained by no man. He was not ordained by no man. You understand? He's there to speak.
There's no excuse, Leonard. Leonard, you could text all night, and we appreciate all your comments and stuff. And but there's no excuse
No, he's
for
there to lead the church. That's what he's
he's
there
there,
to do.
and
He is there to
he's there as
teach.
a mentor.
He's there to
He's
save
there.
marriages. He's
That's
there to save relationship and family, not to
that's
tear
right.
family apart,
Tear it
mainly
down.
his. Rick is saying, okay, I guess this is what I couldn't see. The will of God is not realistic foundation for intelligent conversation. Religion is insanely subjective. Rick, to each his own, but that's what we're saying.
Okay, but this is what I'm saying, because I knew that people were gonna come up tonight, Kimberly, and say, "Oh, let's just say, okay, if he was the president doing this, or the leader of," I'm just saying a leader, uh, period. Okay, let's take religion out of it then, Rick. Okay, let's take religion out of it, Rick. And we say, like we were just talking about Obama. Obama led his presidency with such grace and class. There was no scandal, because you could see that he truly cared about his family. He
Mm-hmm.
cared about the country. He cared about putting forth a positive image,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you are not doing that in the church, then I don't know what to say. There's no excuse for this kind of behavior. And that's all I'm saying. Men of certain positions should not be doing certain things, just like women as well. It goes
Exactly.
both
Because we're not
ways.
just blaming this pastor, we're saying this woman played a role in it. You
Yes,
understand? It's not like he raped
absolutely.
her. She willingly participated in this relationship.
And took
So,
another woman's husband. I mean,
exactly.
it happens all the time. And
It
like I said,
happened.
if this wasn't in the church, we wouldn't be on here talking about it. But this was
And I'm telling people, my hand not clean when it comes to being with other people's husband. Everybody has to know my story. Whichever way it go, me just tell you say my hand not clean. That's just who I am. I'm straight and to
right.
the point, and I
Everybody
don't
did the
care who
church.
want like me.
But I'm
It
saying
happens. It happens in the
you're
church,
not
outside the church, but not for a pastor,
a
especially a
pastor.
man to be called a prophet to the point where the deception went on
Mm-hmm.
to another level. It's not the fact that it happened. It not got in congregation and ask for peace or
I
forgiveness
would have
or
been so scared. I would have been so scared. I would have said, God is going to strike me dead. Look, she too, she has a big role to play as well. But
mm-hmm,
again, because he is the leader and he's the one that took the oath of leadership, we're putting the blame maybe a little bit more on him. You know what I
exactly.
mean? Because we know how charismatic, how charming some of these leaders are. Very charming, like, they're very sexy. Sometimes you see him on the public, like, oh my god, he's so sexy.
Mm-hmm.
um so we see where the woman can be so dazzled, and he's a good looking man. If you see the picture, he's a very good looking
He's
man. He
very
dresses well.
handsome man because even my friends
Right.
posted it. She's like, I've been to the church. He's so handsome, and
He's
I'm like,
handsome,
"What- you understand?
but you have to keep that to yourself. Take your eyes off of the
This is
woman's
in Toronto,
husband.
Yannick, in Toronto, Ontario.
Right? Leonard, be disappointed. It's all in the revealing of God. Well, I guess this was God's revelation that, he was going to fall from grace. But I'm just saying,
Yeah, God
Mr.
knows
Sophie,
us by number. He calls us by name. He knows
I
everything.
just
He
wish,
knows what we like what our next move is before we even do. So yes, he knows that was gonna happen. However, we're talking as people right now. We're not talking as God. We're talking as persons out there who looks up to people like that in the church and expect them to lead us, not to take us astray otherwise.
it's
And
just
then
a straight,
on the
but
other hand,
that's my point. That's my point exactly. He's a leader of a certain thing. He's there as a mentor. He's there for leadership. What are you leading the church to commit adultery? Are you committing the church to be deceptive and manipulative? Think about what you're doing before you do certain things when you're in those positions.
it's not
That's
like
all
it
I'm saying.
happened before he gains this position. It happens while he's in the position of power. You understand? This is what the situation is. It's like racism right now and its existence, even though it was laying dormant, it's grown to a higher level now because what? What do you call it? The president of the United States is an open racist. You understand what
That,
I mean? So people think it's okay. So whatever, if you now on the outside, there are people who do not believe in the Bible as it is, who do not believe in religion as it is. You understand? Sorry. So Rita is saying, looks like you gals need to know who is real and who is not real. Kim, people in church are from my experience are not right. And this is what we're talking about. You understand? And then I'm going to see something else jump from this as well, because I see someone else online that it's going to be another story to come. So be prepared. And let
you
me
gotta
tell you,
speak, people,
there are
speak.
people out there who do not believe in religion as it is. And things like this puts a stigma in people who are on the borderline or
Okay,
people who are trying to
but you
come
don't have
over.
to
Go ahead.
believe in religion, Kim. You don't have to believe in religion, but you have to believe in right and wrong. It
Exactly.
doesn't matter if your religion, if you whatever you serve. And I'm not even telling you whatever God you serve, I'm not judging you. But
No, we're not.
there is right and wrong. Okay, no matter what you're studying, even an atheist will know that there is a difference between right and
And
wrong,
wrong. Even a child knows that.
right? And what he did was wrong, and that's all
Clearly
we're saying.
wrong. For number one, let's start with number one. You're the leader of a church, huge following, huge
Huge
congregation.
following,
Well, let me put it this
huge.
way: it's like Moses and the sheep's, right?
Yeah,
It's like Moses herding his flock. Put it that way, and you expect your sheep to follow you. You understand?
following.
And then when you now turn away and walk away from your sheep, how the hell do you expect your sheep them to keep following you? You turn your back on your sheep. That's what he did. You understand? So when people out there see this and hear this, the first thing I say, see me tell you, say, first thing they have to say, church people are the wickedest people and church people no good. You understand? I had
That's
to
what they
block someone from
say.
my page for that this morning as well. You understand?
That's what
Because
they say.
they expect, people already out there expect you to conform to their beliefs. They're not
Mhm.
open. A lot of people's minds are not open like some of you on here. A lot of people are closed-minded. So they already have their belief locked up in them
So
heads.
they're
Say,
waiting. They're waiting for
exactly.
things like this to happen, right?
Exactly. And then you
And
have people who are on the line or on the border, you understand, who doesn't know which direction to go. This is a deterrent. This is a
very
deterrent
much
for even
so.
the Christians in the church.
Very much so. I mean, even for me, like I said, right now I'm in between looking for that right church. But I'm finding the churches that I'm going towards are led by women,
Hmm.
right? Because the ones that are being led by the men, there's too much deception, too much leading astray. And I'm not saying all the men's
No,
churches
we're
are
not
like
saying
that,
all of them.
but I'm saying the women seem to be stepping up to the plate where the men are leaving,
Are
this big
lacking.
open space.
Hmm.
Because like you said, it deters people from any kind of religion. Even if he was a Hindu prophet and this happened,
Or a
you would
Muslim who they believe in multiple wives.
you cannot tell me in any way this story is turned, it's wrong.
It is
And
wrong.
if you put this story and you plug him in a Muslim religion, you plug him in a Hindu, no matter how you turn this
He's going to be
story,
condemned.
it's wrong.
He's going to be condemned because, as we say,
Yeah.
number one, it's the action. It happened. The sin already occurred, but he kept on covering up by multiple sins. Again, you understand? Multiple deception for those who don't believe in the religion, multiple lies on top of lies on top of lies, to the point where he took it
Over and
into the
over and
court of
over.
law and waste time and resources in the court of
He
law
lied
just to prove that
because
yes, he's the father and him a
he
tell
had to
lie.
swear on the Bible.
He will
He
swear
had to
upon the
swear on
Bible.
this Bible,
And can I
right?
bet you he stood there holy and solely,
And said that he never had
convincingly
sex with
swearing
this
the Bible. Dry eye.
that I never had sex with this woman, just for the DNA test to reveal that the child was 99.9999999% his own. How
Exactly.
does that look? That's all I'm saying. We're not judging. We're not judging. But I'm
No,
saying right is right and wrong is wrong. Okay?
we're not saying
And
he's not human. He's human. But because the Bible says you should not, we cannot be Christ, but we can be Christ-like. And for somebody like him, he's the one who's more expected to be Christ-like than we are. You understand? Because he's a representative of Christ to us. He's the one
That's,
that when we go and sit and in front of in the church, or when we listen to the word of the Lord, he's the one who's commanding our attention at that point.
I agree. And that's all we're saying. Like, we like to thank everyone who came up on the live tonight. Kib, I had to get it off my chest. I'm just so, I just want to see, you know, our brothers and our sisters doing what they have to do, work, being right in the Lord, being right in their career. Like I said, it's not even a religion thing right now. It's
No,
about, for me, it was being a business person and seeing another business, because the church is somewhat of a business
a business.
sometimes. This spent a lot of time building such a great empire, and just to have it crumble over
This man is
crutches.
rich, rich, rich off of impression. There's
That's
money,
the
in
thing.
followers, money,
And it's just so
donations,
sad.
all kind of something. You know what I
You know,
mean? So, and in the court of law, he says to the judge, he doesn't want it to be released to the public because he
because he
don't want
knows
to
how.
lose.
Yeah, and I mean, it being released, this is going to be a great effect on his church, on his ministry, on his family, just on everything. Like, it's such a horrible domino effect, and I don't want to keep throwing spears and making him feel probably worse than he already feels. But you were wrong, buddy, and I don't know.
I think he needs
I
to give a public apology. Personally, that's what I think. I think as a
Yeah,
recourse, how do we solve? How do we grow from here? He needs to
yeah.
give
How
a
do we go
public
from here?
apology.
And hopefully the other pastors or people coming up in ministry can learn from this, and don't make the same mistakes, because this is not good. This is not what we want to see in our churches. This is not what we want to see with our leaders, with our brothers, with our men. This is not what we want to see. We want to see
Exactly.
success. We want to see, if you say you're taking up the role to walk with God, walk with God. It's not
Exactly.
that bad. You're one wife. You won't die.
And community success, community building is partly based on our churches. So, it's a breakdown in the community at this point, a complete breakdown.
Yep. Rick, oh my God. You see, the men are gonna have a total different thing, eh? Kimberly, he's saying, let's leave people's personal sex life out of their personal lives. Sex is sex. It's not a sin.
It's
We're
not
not
their
saying it's a sin.
personal life when he took it to court and make it a public thing. He's the one who took it to court and make it a public thing, Rick. You understand? He took this lady to court under the pretense he was never sexually involved. It wouldn't have been this big. I'm
If
positive
he
it wouldn't have
got
been
to
this
lie
big.
about it too, right?
Lied. Asked for
Then
a,
Unique
he
says,
asked for a DNA test, not the
yeah,
lady. He requested a DNA test saying, I've never slept with this woman. So was it miraculous conception?
yeah, like she's the
Another
next
Virgin
Virgin
Mary
Mary.
story on, he's gonna
Think
speak,
no.
he's gonna preach about this miraculous thing that happened in his church.
Yes. And then so Unique says, if I was his wife, I would leave him. I am not staying with him. This is horrible. But you know what? I don't even know what to say, because if I was in the wife's shoes, everybody that she talks to knows what she's going through.
Yeah,
I would have to go to another country, because I'd have been so ashamed. Like,
it is a thing. And you know what though? It's sad. You know,
Diamond Lewis, really.
we are gullible as women. We are naive as women. I'm the first to tell you that. And we'll go through this over and over again and still turn around and forgive them, especially
This
now with 6 kids
I would even say that she has probably caught him cheating previously
before.
and has
Yeah,
before, but this is just never got as big as this,
I think she
right?
knows. I think it's
Yeah,
something that is known. It's not the first this man has done this. God forgive me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong.
I don't think so. I don't think so. And I think she probably has hidden a lot of things that he's doing or has done, because that's, that's her
Embarrassing.
husband.
Yeah.
That's what her job is, to hide his shame. But I mean, why didn't he love her in the same way, to hide
Mm-hmm.
her shame?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel that who I really feel for is the wife and the
Is
kids,
the
that they
wife
have
and the kids. Six
to
children.
go through this.
Six
It's
children.
embarrassing. It's very
Exactly.
embarrassing.
Exactly. So, you know,
Because I
Tamara, what do
so
you
too.
think we as women, or we as parishioners, or followers can do in this position? What can we do in this position to I can't we can't lead, we're not leaders of the church, but what can we do in this position?
I think as I think if you're in a church and you know something like this is going on, you need to speak out. And because like we're going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that yes, we know that they're flesh and the flesh is weak, but we as the congregation need to be telling these leaders, listen, we want you to lead us. We don't want you to lead us down in the path of destruction. We
Hmm.
make them accountable. Make them accountable for how they lead their lives. Diamond Lewis says that's if you don't have the walk away
Walk away
spirit.
spirit. And you
Listen,
know what, probably,
embarrassing
and
spirit.
most of these women who end up in this position, sad to say, are people who are going through things in their life, people who have low self-esteem, people who are going through a lot. And you don't know if it's financial reasons why he's with her, why ended up with him. We don't know what the situation is. A lot of pastors say they're
Exploitation.
counseling, and that's the kind of counseling that they're given.
And but it's exploitation no matter which way you stretch it, right? They're exploiting the women sexually, financially, emotionally, every kind of way. So
Hmm.
it's about making these leaders accountable for their actions and in how they treat the congregation and how they're living in their personal lives, right?
Yes,
It's this Kim, you're
Simon.
talking about a pastor. You're talking about a pastor.
The pastor, the one that I posted the newspaper article about in Toronto, he impregnated a parishioner in the church and told her that she needed to have an abortion because the Lord said so. And then in addition to that, he took her to court asking for paternity tests, claiming that he's never been involved with her. So yes, that's who we're talking about.
Yep. And you know I just, like I said, I think I don't want to deter people from going to church because we all know where one and two are gathered. We need prayers, we need leadership, but we want to make these leaders accountable for their actions. I
Hmm.
don't want my pastor making the Toronto Star headline news for infidelity and scandal.
Exactly.
She said me faint.
Jafian. But you know the thing of, it's not a monetary scandal thing. It's not the pastor living off people money. This is a different level. This is like that
This
pastor
different
man in Jamaica with
thing.
him catch on the video
If
with a
it
little
was a money
girl.
scandal, if it was a money scandal, I wouldn't be up here talking about it, honestly, because
Exactly.
all of them are doing money scandal. But this is such disgusting, egotistical deception on his part. Like
Exactly.
it's like, oh, I'm gonna take this woman to court. He knows exactly what he did. He was so, you know, big on himself. He took the woman to court. What did he think, that the DNA test was gonna just
No shame.
rule in his favor?
Yeah, the
You know,
baby's a baby
because
boy.
he's
Baby boy.
the
But I'm
child
sure he
born
had to pay
already.
for that. He had to
He has
pay for
no
that
shame.
DNA test. He had to pay on that DNA test.
Yeah, the child was born already, right? So this is it. So now you have this live you the wife has to live with her husband who has a child with someone from the church, plus her two new babies.
The wife
Well, we
has
don't know
four
what's
children,
in
Diamond,
him.
from before, and a set of twins during this time.
Mhm. Right? So we cannot tell what the wife is going to do, because honestly, I don't. If I was her, I would be so ashamed. I would just want to go bury myself
Me
somewhere,
ashamed if me find out
because
some my man there with somebody else and he's a local, much less to go say somebody in a certain position. It is not a good feeling. It's embarrassing
embarrassing.
on so many levels, but to the point that it went, it's where the entire city, the entire nation, the world is looking at this and looking at me, a well-known pastor's wife. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It is
The
utterly
first lady.
disgusting. It is
David said,
disgusting.
me blow out.
Yes. Read the
Yes,
story. I reposted.
that's what
I'll
I said.
repost
What I
it
said.
again. I'll
I
read the
posted.
story.
You posted after this, Kim. Yeah, so they can read it, so they can see, just how
It's a
degrading this is.
deception.
And for me,
It's a deception.
yes,
It's not that he went and
when he
apologized to his congregation. It's nothing like that. He took this woman to court. I know she can't go court enough. Him carry her go court. Shameful.
Yeah. And for me, it's just, like I said, the hurt is to see, I want to see, I'm a businesswoman, as you know, Kimberly, so I'm always down for Black people succeeding and doing and it just hurts me to see all this work gone to waste. The man has
Exactly.
17 church.
17
That's a
church.
lot of church.
Young man.
Yep, yep, that's a lot. Yep, and he's so young. And to see his empire crumble like this is really, really a shame.
And you know the funniest
And
thing?
I
It probably won't crumble. It probably
these
won't
so-called
crumble. It's just sad to say.
well, this is it. It probably won't crumble, but the shame and disgrace already was there. And it's,
Exactly.
they're not the people that feel the hurt. It's people like the wife. It's people like, the people that are
It's
members
people
of the
who hold
church.
position in the church and are probably upstanding members who probably, are more faithful than he is, who may
Who's probably
hold.
followed this man and is so loyal to him, and this is it. When you're a leader, you have people looking up to you. You have people that worship and adore you. You have to
Mhm,
take that role, you know sacred, and think outside of yourself, you
mhm.
know um, and say, what, there's people that follow me, there's people that I mentor. So
He didn't think
it's
that it was gonna come out.
it's sad.
He didn't think that it was gonna come out. I just know that's what in his
After,
mind he's such a pompous jerk. Sorry to say, he did not. He thinks so much of
yes, it's
himself.
true.
He did not think this was gonna come out. How can you sleep with a parishioner and it's
But
not one person? Sorry if I'm wrong. I'm more than
but
one
you
in
know
time
what?
him sleep with that.
It's the judge. The God put discernment in the judge, because the judge could have said, you know what, I'm gonna put the publication ban and we're not gonna make it come out. He
Hmm.
could have done that,
She
right?
said no, she's
But
not gonna put it.
something in that judge moved him to do this,
Hmm.
and I
You
mean,
know
it's
the
not.
funniest thing? I know his lawyer too. You know the lawyer that represented him. Search the lawyer. You probably know that lawyer.
Jeez. The lawyer
Yes,
probably like,
search
oh
that
my
lawyer.
God.
I think you know that lawyer.
Jeez. you know and so much money. A lot of women go to church to look pastors. Do you know that them have brave, no bucks?
That's
Them
brave.
brave, no bucks
I
out.
don't remember we were
Garment.
saying that. Some of
It's
them go to church
true.
in them mini skirt and them breasts out a door and slung in a front seat and open up them foot and all kind of things to entice the pastor. Everything. But the pastor is the one who should know better. He's the leader. You understand?
He's the
He
leader.
knows the
I agree.
disgrace.
I agree.
So
Right?
Rick is
I'm
saying,
not
Rick
saying it's
Woosley is
right or
saying,
fair,
Rick
but
Woosley is
human
saying,
nature always
I'm not
wins
saying it is right
and
or
down.
fair, but human nature always wins and cannot be dumbed down. That is the point. Religion or ideas about God or a system of synthetic morals are all beside the point. People have strong desires that cannot be ignored. Rick, let me tell you this. Religion has been around before your existence, before my existence.
Kimberly,
Biblical years
Rick's
goes beyond
desire is
how
always
many
strong.
years?
Rick is talking from personal experience. His desires are always strong. Just
You
open them
understand?
legs to show confusion. As Jamaicans would say, he would slap up the two of them with me cutlass.
That's
Both my
my
husband.
husband and the woman. Yeah.
But
It's
exactly, Kimberly. This could have came out to be even something worse. What if the wife would have tripped on them, right? This could have been even worse. You
exactly.
put your somebody in that kind of predicament. What if the wife was, spiritually not strong or mentally just tripped?
Temporary insanity.
I'm gonna chop
Temporary
up the two of them for
insanity.
real. This would have been a whole different life.
Whole different story. You understand? But
Rest,
who to tell?
I
There's probably more. There's a prelude to come because the story's still not done yet. Because we still not hear what happened. How did the congregation react? I would have liked to go into that church
the
and.
tea is still bubbling, girl. The tea is still bubbling.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying is, like I said, leaders do better. We want to see you guys doing better. Stop sleeping with the people in the church, okay? And
Yeah.
nobody should be. If you meet your husband in the church,
We're not
praise
saying
God,
that's wrong.
but do not go there and purposely be looking the pastor. The pastor,
Especially
especially if he's
a married pastor, a man who
yes,
calls himself a prophet. That's what we're talking about. It's not the fact that the pastor is weak in flesh. It's not the fact that he slept with the member of the church. It's the fact that he's a married man. He is the highest level of
That's
any member of any church. He is called a
he's
prophet. He's a
prophet.
discerner. He's this. He should have seen this coming if he's such a discerner too. So him just never look into it. You
He can
understand?
only discern for other people.
He can't discern for
Yeah.
himself. Or he just never thought. I just think he just never thought that this would have happened to him. You understand? Yes, we put faith in God, not man, but we put our faith in him as a pastor. You understand? The church not gonna shut down. Him have
The church
17
is
church
just
diamond, 17 church here in Canada, plus in satellite churches,
17
because when him come, him full the community
internationally.
hall, the biggest community hall down the street full every time him come here into Calgary. Yeah, exactly.
He's a big pastor, man. Big, huge,
Young, but big.
huge. He sell out stadium when he goes to preach. Everybody's there.
Everybody's
He's a
there.
here in the community.
Montreal,
So
everywhere. He's traveled everywhere
everywhere,
throughout Canada, and I'm sure the US as well. If you search him, Prophet
Africa,
Martin Colfie. And yes,
Kofi.
I think he has churches in Africa as well. So you gotta be mindful. His followers are strong. But we need to, even as women, you go to church. Yes, if
Bible said, lock them all down.
let them all down. If the pastor is single, yes, the pastor is in flesh. We're not telling, like they're telling the priest in the Catholic Church, you should not have a woman. And Rick, get this. This is what we've said before. We believe that they should have a woman because there's no way God built with nature, man and woman, and build us with nature. You understand? So how you gonna go tell a priest and a nun that them shouldn't have a partner? That's why he made Adam and Eve to begin with. He made both.
Yeah, but Kofi, he was overdoing it, yo.
No, I think he still is. Him have Walipa woman. I just think so. As a handsome man, a man with money, a leader in so many ways. Come on, enough women love the power. Enough women
They
love
love
that.
it. And
But
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying for the women in the church. Don't get, we're not going there to praise the pastor. We're going there to praise God. So have some control within yourselves, women. And I'm speaking out now to my sisters.
exactly.
Have some control for yourself. Have some respect for yourself. The temptation is there. Nobody's telling you have eyes, your blood and flesh. The pastor's cute, he's cute, but there's certain lines you just don't cross,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's certain lines that you just don't cross. That is another woman's husband. That is that is the prophet of the church. That is the pastor. Leave him alone unless he's single, right?
Mm-hmm.
It never happened. Adam and
So
Eve is a myth.
it's a
Rick,
myth.
whatever.
Okay.
We all know what the apple was. We all know
And
what the
and
apple was.
and
We're
Rick,
big
we're
people
not
now.
here to change your belief. Sorry, Tamir, we're not here to change your belief. We're here to talk about our belief and what we expect. You understand? What we expect from our leaders of the church that we believe in. That's what we're talking about. So we're not here to change your
Mhm.
belief. Whatever your stance is, whatever your belief is, you can stick by it. We're talking about an occurrence that happened. It's proven. It's something that it's written up publicly at this point, nationally, maybe internationally, and at this point internationally, because we don't know much people we are reaching where they are. You know what I mean? There could be people from England, Australia, and everywhere on our live, right?
Everybody's up live tonight,
You understand?
right? So
But tonight,
yeah, so
we're talking about something that occurred from somebody that we expect better from, just like we'd expect better from the leader of our country, leader of our community,
that's right.
whatever the situation is. Good night, Diamond. But that's what we're talking about. You understand? But Diamond is
Yes,
saying some woman
yes,
brave, sleeping with the pastor. Yes, they do that. We know that it happens. We're not saying it doesn't happen. We're just talking about the level of deception that this particular prophet slash pastor took to cover up what he's doing.
yes. I totally agree. So it's been great. It's been great.
It's been,
Kimberly, we have to come out. We have to watch this story closely so we can come up on the live and give the people the rest of the bubbling tea.
yes,
This tea
and
is hot
we
and
will bring
bubbling,
you
right?
more interactive and stories, whether about religion, beauty, whatever it is. So Tamara, sorry, we didn't formally introduce you to our live viewers, so some people may already know who you are. Can you tell me a little bit about you and where you're from, so on and so forth, what you do, and I'll do the same for your viewers when you're done.
Okay, so my name is Tamara Carter. I live here in Toronto, and I have a beauty business and a woman empowerment series called Lady Boss. So I empower women to be self-employed and to serve God and to be successful. So I'm just doing that right now, and I come up on the lives everyone every so often just to speak my mind and hear what the people are saying and what they're talking about. Um, so yeah, that's what I'm doing, and I have my own beauty academy. So I do permanent makeup, hair, all that good stuff. So just empowering women to be self-employed, to be self-sufficient, and so that we're not enslaved.
Exactly. And we learn to be independent and strong, and be able to carry forward on our own. I appreciate that.
Yes,
Can you tell
amen.
people about a site, or is there a particular site, or is there a way that they can follow you as well, apart from your personal page?
Yeah, so I have my Instagram page. I have No Plus Ultra hair and nails. I have No Plus Ultra Academy, and I have Lady Boss. Lady Boss, follow us on Instagram. There's going to be a lot of things coming up soon. We have Lady Boss TV coming up. We have
I'm
Lady Boss
drinking water.
Networking Night here. I would
Mm-hmm.
like to connect with you guys out there in Alberta. I was on the live a few months ago with Althea. So we're connecting with some amazing women. I've connected with Kimberly. She's amazing as well. So it's great to make all these connections and just, it's like women power, right? And I feel somewhat like people call me an influencer and a leader. I don't feel so much like that, but I feel like that's why this story was so close to my heart because I'm not there yet.
Yeah,
I'm far from the leader, but I'm trying to get to that level, and it's like I know how I want to lead my people. I know how I want to look as a leader. I know. Diamond asked, "What's Lady Boss?" Lady Boss is an empowerment program that I do here in Toronto, and we empower women to be self-employed, to be self-sufficient, and to walk with the Lord, basically. Because we cannot have success without God. So we have workshops, we have retreats, we have networking nights. There's a TV show coming up. So, Lady Boss is doing really awesome. God is blessing me greatly. And I just want to tell people, I have so many testimonies about, my life and women that I've met. And, we are putting God first and blessing our families and our businesses. So it's just awesome to hook up with amazing women like Kim, because she too, you could see she's a woman of God. We're powerhouses, right? So when we see our men doing these kind of things, it's hurtful because we know as a race where we're going and where we're coming from, right? So for me, the Black pastors or the Black prophets need to be as careful as possible in how they're conducting themselves. You understand? Because
exactly.
they're already looking for us to fail. Let's just be real
Exactly.
here,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
They're already looking for us to fail. So I want you guys to I want the men to be aware of that, you know, and just do better. Look what they did to Bill Cosby. They're
Yeah.
bringing down the leaders, the Black leaders. So you have to we have to secure the leaders that we have because we can't take any more falls. Unique says yes, Miss Uncom need to get involved in all these activities. Sound great.
Yeah.
Yes, Unique, don't worry, I do it internationally. I come to Trinidad all the time. I go to Jamaica,
She's in
Barbados.
Jamaica.
Unique is in Jamaica.
Yes, she's a teacher in Jamaica. She used to
Unique,
live
maybe
here
you
in
can
Alberta.
contact me. Great. I need to connect with you. I sell hair as well. I have my own hairline. I need to come there and do a couple workshops there in Jamaica. So we'll connect after the live anyways. And you too, Kimberly, we'll talk about that after.
Exactly. I'm
But
looking
you
at
know,
I'm working on some things myself. So, for your viewers or viewers new to my page, my name is Kimberly Douglas. I lived in Toronto since age 13. I did a couple beauty pageants, Miss Black Ontario, Miss Jamaica Canada. I
woo,
was one of the first peer counselors in Canada. Represented my school on Parliament Hill, and actually was there when Brian Mulroney abruptly
very
resigned.
good,
So I've had some historic things happen in my life. I've been on
very well,
much music with Master T, as well as City TV and some newspapers. I walked the
very
runway
good.
with some famous people, met some famous people, Boys to Men, other people up close and personal.
Yes,
Not just to whatever, I've rubbed elbows with the elite at some time.
yes.
So I moved to Alberta. I'm a travel agent by trade. I took hospitality and tourism in school with hotel restaurant management. Had a restaurant there in Toronto, Birchmount and Lawrence area.
Oh wow! I'm
I
actually
worked
I'm near there right now. I'm at my auntie's house,
nice.
Markham and Lawrence.
Yeah, and I used to live there at Markham and Shepherd area. I lived in
Wow.
Malvern for a bit. Um, right. Let me see. What else have I done? I've done so much. I moved to Alberta in the boom back in 2006.
Hmm.
I worked with GE Money. I currently work with the government of Alberta going on 11, well, no, over 11 years. June was my anniversary date, 11 years with Service Alberta. I also train people in my job, so I'm
Perfect.
well versed in a lot of things. So these things in our community that I'm seeing, and I try to enrich and empower my community. I also do promotions as well. I've held a few events. I brought Wayne Wonder here to Alberta, which was successful. Some of my
Perfect.
recent, and I have to talk both sides, some of my recent stints have not been successful. However, I'm working on it. Sometimes you meet people in your life that really doesn't want to see you shine, but you have to know from within, and this is what she's talking about, empowerment. You have to
Mm,
know from within where you want to go, what your goals
that's
in
right.
life are, because the only person can hinder your success is you. You may be
Is
set back. No matter what somebody do, you may be set back, but what is for you is for you. I talk about that
for
yesterday,
you
and I
is for
talk about
you.
unbothered.
Amen,
What is
sister.
yours, it's yours. No matter how much time them take it. I opened another restaurant here in Calgary um, for a short period of time last year, and I intend to go back there in a hotel setting this time. And I'm getting to the good point. I've actually tried to do a jerk festival here, which was a big drawback from my community. I've not given
Mm.
up hope, however. And currently, I was already offered this TV program on a local level a few years ago and caused another uproar. Um, Stepped away from it. This is why I'm coming back. Wafio. So now I've been offered another TV program. Now it's called Kim Connects, which will be on Omni throughout
Ah,
Canada. Omni TV
Lisa,
throughout
listen.
Canada starting this fall. So
Good for
this
you. Yes.
Thank you. So this community
Congratulations.
platform here, this platform that I have, I'm using it as a will and as a power, as a tool to empower my community, to grow my community, because we don't usually get these platforms. So you know what I
That's right.
mean? I'm trying to bring people within my community, whether small businesses, young artists, entertainers who are trying to come up, who would normally not get out there otherwise from YouTube or Facebook. I am trying to bring them with me by I've already asked a few of them to give me their music so I could put it out there as well. So on each of my show, I'm intending to showcase a little
Perfect.
bit of my community and build my community. And I also have advertisement spots. Don't have to be here in Calgary, because
No,
Omni TV is Canada wide. My
it's
website is
Canada
Canada wide.
wide.
Exactly. So you have that platform, and it's quite reasonable for television advertisement that we worked out with the network. So, this is
Perfect.
what I'm doing. I'm a person who never gives up. And when they fight, I still push
You
forward
have to
because
keep
that
moving,
gives me
sister.
motivation.
You have to keep moving. Oh, Kimberly, we could talk all night. I have stories for you, girl, because I am like going through the same thing. It seems like the TV thing, you're gonna get fight down Oh my God, I just have so many
I've
stories.
already gotten that, and I've stepped away. This is why I come back. And yesterday it was a confirmation that I got from Tamara Carver in the US. You know, I
Ah,
had a post that I put out there a couple years ago. Said, Wa for you, no matter how much time you lose it, it will come back to you.
it will
Then
come back.
I reposted it, and I just so happened to be scrolling through my Facebook, and that topic came up. What's yours is yours. What God has ordained for you, nobody can take it away from you. It
Remind
will
me,
come right back. So watch
remind
my
me
post
your
from
story.
yesterday. Exactly.
Remind me
So we
your
will
story after
continue to
this.
do this, Tamara. We will continue to
Yes,
do this. We'll continue to do these lives, and we'll continue to try and empower and bring what's right to our community, no matter what the drawback and the setbacks
amen.
are. You understand? Because
Amen.
the enemy only has the power that you allow them to have over you. Remember that, people.
Amen,
Your
sister.
enemy should be your biggest motivators.
That's right. That's right. And we'd like to thank everyone who came up on the live tonight. I will definitely be doing some more lives with Kimberly because we have so much to talk about, Kimberly. So much.
Exactly.
Right?
So I'm just going to
So
give a
I just
plug for
want
Diamond here. Diamond is located in the US. Diamond is a
hi,
travel
Diamond.
agent, and Diamond has a cruise that is coming up that's open to anybody who wants to go on to this cruise next April. So I'm going to be
Yes,
doing a live with
oh,
Diamond. Go ahead.
you're welcome, Rick. Rick. Rick's always on the live. He's just a,
Thank
you
you,
know,
Kim
he
and
has a lot to
Tamara.
say.
Whether we agree or with our opinions or not, let's be thankful for the freedom to express our opinions in a safe, helpful way. And Rick, that's what I said. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm not gonna try to defer you from your opinion because you're entitled to it. But you understand, right is right, wrong is wrong, and that's where it
And
is.
wrong is
So
right. That's it.
exactly.
Diamond,
So
send me the
that
information for the cruise. I need a vacation. I need to get away,
So that's
girl.
next year, April, and I'm sharing it. Diamond and I will be going live. It's Fun Vibes Radio. Also is the host
Woo!
of that radio station there. But the
Right.
cruise, I didn't want to say nothing. I'm looking into it to say it's out of Miami, and I'll keep posting the information. And
Keep
Diamond will be
posting
talking.
it so we
We'll
know.
We'll
I'll
be going
post it as
live
well.
about that cruise. So we want to hype up that cruise a little bit. We want to help out our women entrepreneurs to help them elevate and get ahead. So we want to
Yay.
help out Diamond to get her across the board because no matter where you come from, no matter where you are, Canada, US, that cruise boards in Miami next April. And yes, as much of us that can
Gonna
go,
be
we
on
can
the call.
go.
Send me the info, guys. I would love to share it and tell some people about it as
And I
well.
think it's on Carnival Cruise Lines, a great cruise line. So so
Yeah,
Tamara, it's nice. Thanks for joining me. I enjoyed this so much, and we'll be
I know.
collaborating
The
more
tea.
great topics together. You know, fun
Yes.
topics, serious topics,
Yes.
whatever it is. We should talk beauty one day.
We definitely will, because that's
Yeah,
all I can really do.
yeah. No, no, you can
But
do more. You can do more.
but you wish you wish you could just stay on the light topics, right? Like beauty and hair and nails. But
Mhm.
then this kind of stuff comes up and you're like, no, man,
Hi, Warren.
really?
Life happens, and we have to talk about it. You understand? We're not going out there and slandering someone. This is something that's written publicly.
It's not it tonight was not meant to be like a slandering or a malicious. Like I said, it was painful for me to see the downfall because I like to see the success of my people.
Okay.
For a black man to have 17 churches is a very big deal.
Hmm.
So it oh thank you.
Hmm.
So for me it's more of a disappointing thing. This is not to throw in his face and say, oh my God,
No,
look what you did, good for
but
you.
he needs
This
to know it's wrong.
yes, that's all. That's all. So
Exactly.
thank you, Kimberly. Have a wonderful night. Thank
You
you,
too.
everyone, for joining us tonight. And just look out for more of Kim and Tamara on the live.
Exactly. And look out for Kim Connects. Check me out, kimconnects.com. That's my webpage. Kim
Yeah,
Connects
put
on
all that information
YouTube.
up. Maybe I can come to Alberta and then
Yes,
we
you
could do
can.
something.
Yes, you can. I'm planning something that we need to connect on. Kim Connects on YouTube. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Kim Connects on Instagram. Kim Connects on
Oh, yeah.
Facebook.
I'll put up all my stuff. I have too much Instagram and I have a YouTube, but it's not up yet. It's Lady Boss
Yeah.
TV. But we'll get that all together when it's all up and running. So you guys have a nice night. I'm going to sleep now.
All right. Good night, because it's late
Bye.
here. All right. Have
Yeah.
a great night, everyone. And thanks for joining us. Look out for more lives with collaboration with myself and Tamara. And have a great night.
Bye.
Bye.